Dan ga ik naar het volgende onderdeel en dit gaan we in het Engels doen. Vanwege het feit dat de persoon die iets over haar onderzoek en haar initiatief gaat vertellen, dat is Özlem Eylem. En ze gaat, Özlem, zou je alsjeblieft naar voren, would you please come forward? En volgens mij hoor ik een applaus opdoen, maar yes. Ja. Even kijken. Deze is voor jou. Özlem, would you please tell us something about your professional background and PhD student and Vrije Universiteit? What are you?
What do I do in life?
What do you do? Yes. And especially Kimakania.
Yes.
Yes, please go on.
That was a nice way of saying it.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Well, I'm Özlem. I'm a PhD student at VU University Amsterdam. I'm also a researcher at Queen Mary University and in London, and I go back and forth to run this project, which I'm very excited to tell you about. So Kıyma Canına is an online therapy for suicidal thoughts. And my project is about adapting this therapy according to Turkish-speaking migrants in the Netherlands and in England, hoping that this therapy will make it easier for them to seek help because of suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, okay. When did you start this project?
Well, the website, it became online by the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is the name?
Yes. Kıyma Canına. Yes.
Kıyma Canına. What does it mean?
Kıyma Canına is actually, it's a well-known expression in the community.
In the Turkish community or academic community or?
Well, I would like to say that Turkish-speaking community.
Yes.
So meaning Turkish, Kurdish, Alevi,
Okay.
all the communities related with Turkish.
Yeah. And what does it mean?
So it means, well, literally if you translate it into English, it means crushing your life energy.
What?
Crushing your life energy. Actually the phrase means don't crush your life energy.
Don't crush your life energy.
Yes.
Oké. Verspil je tijd en energie niet, of zoiets. Nee? Maak geen einde aan je leven. Oké, kan ook. Ja, vind ik ook een goede. Ja. Oké, ga door. Oké.
Well, before I started this website, I went to the communities and Mustafa Ayrancı is one of the person I spoke to.
Yeah.
So I asked, so how do people talk about this? Because it's a taboo. It's very difficult to talk about suicide. And I asked, so how do they talk about it? What kind of words they use to express this? And that came out quite a lot of times.
Yeah. And if people visit your website, that's the first thing they see.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah?
Yes.
Do you have any idea about the profile, profiel van, of the visitors of your website?
Yes.
Could you please tell us something about that?
Well, I accept people. Well, the project is running in Netherlands and in England, so I accept people from community, from all sorts of backgrounds, different backgrounds, but from Turkish-speaking backgrounds.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But do you have any idea whether they are mostly men, women, their age, maybe they are from big city or do you have any idea about the general lines?
Yes, so not surprisingly, mostly women.
Mostly women,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that it's not surprising because research also tells us that women is more open to seek help or more open to talk, actually, about mental health problems or suicide, and more open to seek help about it. So mostly women in 20s.
Mostly men?
Mostly women in 20s and mostly working women. Actually, that's surprising for me because they're actually successful women and they're either studying in university or they're working in companies. But they feel lonely. And they are most of the time perfectionists. They're very critical of themselves. And this suicidal thoughts, they came as if as if an escape route, that they want to escape from the loneliness and the...
By the way, why are you focusing on Turkish-speaking people?
Yes. So the main reason is the eye-opening statistics that suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts, they are very common among Turkish-speaking migrants in Europe in general. For example, in Germany, among women aged between 14 and 25, it's 5 times higher compared to other women from other backgrounds. And in Netherlands, it's 3 to 4 times higher among women, same age group again. Yeah. And Switzerland and other European countries, the statistics are similar.
And if you compare it with other migrant groups,
yes.
For example, Turkish with Moroccan or Eritrean or Iranian girls, are they still higher?
Yes.
Do you have any idea? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, do you have any, you mentioned maybe a couple of them, but I would like to ask the one concrete question about that. What are the issues those people are struggling with? Wat zijn zeg maar de punten waar ze mee kampen? Welke problemen hebben ze, obstakels of zo?
Well, of course, because these problems, because suicide attempt rate is higher among this group, that also brings the question of the presence of cultural reasons. And actually, the most striking thing is that although the attempted suicide rate and suicidal thoughts are quite common, they are less likely to seek help. They are less likely to go to therapists and seek help.
So they tend more to suicide and less comparing with other people to seeking for help.
Yes, and that shows us there are cultural barriers or there are linguistic barriers preventing them from seeking help. Yeah. And that's the main reason of developing this website, also in Dutch, in Turkish, and in English.
And it's all confidential from the moment that you log in.
Yes, that's
so
right.
they know what they tell you. Only you and your academic colleagues, they know the data.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize here that, the aim of this website is to prevent a suicide attempt. So it's prevention. It's we also tell them from the day they start. We tell them, well, this will help you to manage your suicidal thoughts better, but we will refer you to existing health services for further help.
Doorverwijzen naar bestaande. And by the way, do you see any differences between different generations, since we have migration from Turkey, let's say from the 60s, and so it's almost 50 years ago. Do you see any differences between all these generations when it comes to this subject?
Yes. So when I conducted interviews with the community groups, also with Mustafa Ayrancı, so we also spoke about the generational differences. And actually, one of the person I interviewed, he expressed it in a very clear way. He said the second, third generation Turkish-speaking migrants, they live as if they have different roles. Let's say they play 3 theaters every day. So they are a different person with their parents, different with their friends, different with other people. Yeah. So parents, the first generation, they have certain expectations. They want them to continue with the traditions. They want them to maintain the ethnic culture. Yeah. And this is a very common theme that I came across during the interviews. But the second and third generation, they feel responsible to carry traditions. Yeah. And but of course, they also grew up in a very different environment. They grew up here. They also identify themselves with the customs, with the ways here. Mm-hmm. So if they differ from the expectations in one way or another, then they are afraid that they would fail their parents or they would fail the expectations of the community. Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually one of the main reasons leading to suicidal thoughts and attempt.
Final question for you. Why are we talking about, this evening, this whole week is about loneliness. And now we are talking about suicide.
Yes, that's true.
What's the link?
So,
Je moet wel in de microfoon praten.
oh, okay.
Ja, beter, ja. Zo.
So, the more lonely you feel, the chances are higher that you will have mental health problems or perhaps depression, and then that would increase the chances for having suicidal thoughts and attempts. So there's no direct relationship. It doesn't, well, if you feel lonely, that doesn't mean that...
You said it's a direct question, as you explained it. It sounded like a relationship.
It's a risk factor it's a risk factor for mental health problems and suicide, but it's not directly related. If that makes sense.
Ja, ik kan het niet helemaal volgen. Ik heb ook maar... but maybe later on I can discuss this, maybe I can write it down.
Yes.
So what would, please?
Yes, but Tineke, she mentioned about this subjective feeling of loneliness, and she differentiated this objective, she differentiated social isolation from subjective feeling of loneliness.
Yeah.
And I think social isolation is a bigger risk factor for suicidal thoughts than subjective feeling of loneliness.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Good luck with your subject, with your website. Thank you. Okay. It's my and yes. Yeah.